so let's go into our next lab, which is designing scalable semantic models. For this lab, we're going to take, if you're unfamiliar with modeling and semantic models, it might take you 30 minutes or more to complete this lab. But for those of you who are familiar with semantic models, modeling in general, it should take you less time. Before you start, we do need to download the sales analysis starter file from this location, save it locally and extract it so that we can get to the 15 starter sales analysis.pbix file. I already have this file opened, and we can start with our first task in this exercise, which is working with relationships. Let's switch to the model view to look at our model. Going to collapse these two so we can see everything in a single screen. There you go. This is what our model looks like. And notice there are three relationships between the date table and the sales table. So there's one, there's another, and there's the third, right? So you can see they're all one-to-many relationships. And only one of these relationships, which is this one, let's zoom in. It's only this solid line which is active. The current model design indicates the date table is a role-playing dimension, and this dimension could play the role of the order date or the due date or the ship date, whichever one is having the active relationship. Okay, all right. Let's switch back to our model view for our report view for the next task, visualize sales data by date. All right, so back in the report view, we're going to add a table to our canvas, and we're going to add some columns from the date table. So from the date table, I'm going to drag and drop the year column into the table visual. And from the sales table, I'm going to drag and drop total sales. All right, let's zoom in. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that looks good. Looks exactly like in the image down here. All right, and then let's use inactive relationships. So in our sales table, we're going to select a new measure, and we're going to copy and paste this DAX query to use the inactive relationship. So here we're going to basically use the calculate function to sum the sales data, but instead of using the order date, which is the active relationship, we're using the inactive relationship between the date table and the sales table. Let's click on enter. All right, so let's close that and add the sales shipped to our visual, and you can see there was some sales that were shipped in the previous fiscal year, so we have some blank values there. All right. Now let's create some calculation groups. Let's switch back to the model view. And here you can see I have the option to create a calculation group. So let's select calculation group. All right. So let's rename this calculation item to time calculation, properties, time calculations. All right. And let's the calculation column. This one, the calculation group column. Let's rename it to yearly calculation. All right. Okay. So in the model tab of uh, the data pane here, select the calculation item, and this is the DAX code, and we're going to copy and replace this with this. All right. Right click on the calculation item field and select new calculation item. And let's paste this one. Let's do a third one. All right. Okay, so in the properties tab, so this is what we should be renaming to time calculations. All right, time calculations, yearly calculations, and then we have the year, previous year, year-over-year growth, and year-to-date. Properties pane, see, formatting. Here, there you go. We have the dynamic string format, and we're going to write this string format here. There you go. Okay, perfect. Now we are going to apply this calculation group to our visual. So let's go back to our report view, and let's select the overview tab. We have here a matrix already created, so we're going to stick to using this matrix here. And what we're going to do is add the time calculations to the columns. There you go. So now, before we had total sales profit and profit margin, and we want to apply the yearly calculations to all three values. So we have now for the previous year sales, total sales profit and profit margin. For the year-over-year growth, we have total sales profit and profit margin. And for the year to date, we have total sales profit and profit margin. All right. This is how your calculation groups work. All right, now let's move on to creating field parameters. In the modeling tab, let's go to new parameter and create a new field parameter. All right, we're going to rename the parameter to sales figures, verify this add slicer to this page is checked, and add the following fields from the sales table. So we want total sales, we want profit, profit margin, and orders. And let's create it. All right, so now we have the new sales figures available here. And we're going to add this sales figures to the values. Instead of all these values, we're going to remove these values. I'm going to add the sales figure values here. All right, so now we can check, for example, only for total sales, all of those calculations, or only for profit, or only for profit margin, or only for orders, for example. All right, so we can use this field parameter to do that. Now let's edit the field parameters. Let's go to the sales performance tab at the bottom, and we have this clustered bar chart. Sales by month, and it's going to switch from sales by month to target by month. All right, let's select the bar chart visual and replace total sales with sales figure. There you go. All right, and we're going to now select the sales figure here and add this target to our sales figure. So we don't have that yet. So let's do that right now. I'm just going to copy and paste the whole thing here and click on enter. So now we have the target as well. So you can see I have the target available here as well. Another thing I can do here is go to the View tab, go to Sync Slicers, and add this also to the salesperson. So now if I go there, I can see only total sales or target, for example, or profit, for example. And that's it. With this, we are done with this lab. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next lab.